Front screen. Treating them seriously, despite this, some players might find certain scenes and themes triggering. Fair enough. Okay, so we finally got to read all of it, but... yeah, they are... you have to be very, very careful on how you approach the topics that they've approached. Quite a few, actually. Like in one sequence, they really touched on like 4 or 5 very triggering like PTSD kind of things. So all right, so now we are back. We have made it outside. Richard said we were the girl from the red house. I believe it was the term that he used. So now we are leaving the hotel thing proper to go possibly find where exactly that is. Obviously, we're going to keep exploring because there's stuff like this. All right. Hello, my sunshine, working hard as always. Mr. says there won't be any more guests coming, but that's all right. Still plenty I can help him with. I just wish it was quiet. Why won't it stop talking? Okay. So we found out that Francis is the groundskeeper, and he was one of... oh, what's going on here? Oh, it's one of these.
No, don't put him out. I'm still at work. Just tell me if he's okay. All right. Tell him I'll be back soon.
This one felt subdued. Like if someone lit a match in a giant freezer.
Honestly, I don't think I've ever heard an explanation like that before. Is there something right here? No. Okay. Doing weird things with my mouse. Give me a second. There we go. That usually fixes it. We go to the menu and do it a couple times. Match in a freezer. That is a very interesting wording. But, Francis, from what we could tell, saw a murder? The murders? The massacre or something like that? And Thomas kept him on. From what we've kind of gathered is he kind of hung around after everything. Reclaiming history, the late 19th century fort of great historical significance will soon be renovated and reopened to the public. The works are expected to start next year and last until 1983. Oh, there's gonna be a jump scare or something. No, I was 100% expecting a jump scare. There's another button. Poor thing. Also, it seems like Francis was kind of losing himself too. My darling, have I ever mentioned Dr. Requisite's Lillianne? Yes, she turned 16 today. Poor thing, couldn't even have a proper birthday because of that sickness she's got. Oh. Anyway, it reminded me of our Anna. Hers is next month, isn't it? Wish I could be there, but needs me here. Gotta stay, gotta help him out like he helped me. Love you, F. Oh. Got a sickness. I wonder if that's like a reference to like her mental state after dealing with Richard. Niwa Nature Park was created thanks to the generosity of the government of Polish People's Republic. Okay.
sounded familiar somehow. Something from my early childhood, maybe? Was it even a place? Or something else entirely?
Rare tree exhibit landscape trail. Well, of course we're gonna go to the rare tree exhibit. Is there really nothing here other than a flickering flashlight? Huh. Obviously, we want to check both trails because they might have other postcards and stuff. I feel like Franklin's probably, yeah, there it is. Probably the next person we're going to end up engaging with. It's getting harder and harder and harder. Worst of all, it's all starting to make sense. That girl, that poor girl, locked up like an animal. No child should live like this. Is she really that sick? Says it's for her own good, but I'm starting to wonder. I wish I could see you again. I love you so much. Okay, so assuming Francis isn't, you know, completely losing his mind at this point, which he might be, it sounds like Thomas may have locked Lillian up, which explains why her spirit's here on the premises, because she never left, effectively. Alright, so can't do anything over here. Oh, there's something down there. Let's keep going. I got a very interesting thing with the, like, semi-fixed camera angle.
Another one. It looks like it rotted from the inside.
Oh, the bridge was broken. I want to, let's go back this way and see if there's anything at the end of the bridge. If not, then we'll go the way that it wants us to go. Because sometimes developers will hide stuff down the, like, a dead end, assuming that you just see it ahead of time and don't decide to explore it. So, there was nothing there. Alright. Let's go. And of course we'll check the other side, assuming it lets us. It does not. Yeah, it seems like we're...
Animals, they look used up. Like something sucked the life out of them.
Interesting. Uh-oh. Another split? Yeah, there'd definitely be wolves in the woods. Ah, it's a puppers.
You scared the shit out of me, little buddy.
That's a shoe. Aw.
What you got there? Oh, hey! Wait!
The Vistula River. Vistula River. Call you in a second, buddy. Gotta make sure there's no collectibles down at the river. Okay. The answer was no. Oh, wait. Ooh, that was a super hidden collectible. Whispers in the dark. Uh-oh. It's me, it has to be me. She's down there alone, scared. I can hear her all the time now. She whispers, she yells, let me out, let me out. He doesn't understand what doesn't want to... He doesn't understand, he doesn't want to understand. There we go. Maybe he's not who I thought he was. I have to show him. Okay. So, that seems kind of important, because if Francis says she's down there to free him, right? We'll stop this for just a second, because otherwise the barking's going to keep going. Is my camera being wonky? It is a little bit. It's going to mess with a whole bunch of things. Give me a second. Uh-oh. Trying to fix my OBS now. Problem is we're running this game at 1080, and now it's not letting me. Now I can't see squat. There we go. Is my camera back? Apparently it never left. Now we're on the surface of the sun. I would say this game, it might just be my computer. I might be starting to hit the point where my computer is going to have issues, but the game doesn't run, or doesn't play fair with my stream. Okie dokie. That should be better. This going. Okay, what I was going to say is if Francis was the one that freed and killed Lillian. No, that doesn't make sense because Lillian's older. She would have been 16 plus. So we still don't know who the little girl is. Right, my camera's even more delayed now. I do not know what this game has against my camera, but it's like it's fine right now, and then I click into the game. Oh, now it wants to just troll me now. But it does seem to lag it a little bit. I don't know. Maybe we need to change the settings down. Maybe that's what it is. Shouldn't be a thing, but display. Let's go ahead because I think it's on high, so let's go ahead and bump it down to medium. Medium on medium. Hopefully that'll help. But I was thinking Francis was the one that shot her, but I do think what they're getting at is Marianne, which is the main character, is related to Thomas and Lillian. The problem is the spirit of Lillian seems younger than Lillian would probably be. So I don't know if like her spirit regressed after, she died or what. But there's definitely some connection between Thomas and Marianne because they both have that spirit walking power. So, but we'll see. All right. Now that our camera's all handled and everything.
So, there I was. following my new best friend, hoping he wasn't as lost as I was. I remember thinking he could lead me to his owner. In a way, I guess he did.
Uh-oh. Don't like the way she said that. Okay, I was just trying to make sure there was nothing off to the side that we could pick up.
Shaving tools, towels, grease. Everything an elegant Sasquatch needs. What's wrong, buddy? Oh, let's see what we got here. Yummy.
That would be what the dog wanted.
There you go. Eat up, champ. Hold on, boy. Just need to check something. Oh, it's just clothes. Left out to dry in the middle of the woods.
So someone was like squatting here, I guess?
No, right?
That would make sense. I mean, it's a giant, like, walled-in area that people probably don't check very often. As far as there wouldn't be more squatters at the hotel proper.
What is it, boy? You want to show me something?
Oh, where are we going? Oh, his AI had to fix itself.
You catch a scent? Hey! Anyone in there?
That campfire's still warm, so...
What's wrong, boy?
That doesn't sound like a good sound.
Is someone in there?
I'm sorry.
How's Francis still alive?
Sorry.
Hello?
I wish I could see you again. I miss you so much. Why did I stay? Why did I let it out? They're all dead. Because of me.
What the hell?
And I'm still here. I shouldn't be.
Hey! You alright in there?
You shouldn't be. I can see you. And that means it to see you too.
Francis?
Oh, of course. What else did you expect, Marianne?
It was he shouldn't be alive.
He looks drained. Rotted out from within.
Alright, we got a couple more postcards here, it
Just like those
seems.
animals I saw earlier.
Regrets. All I wanted for her was to see the sun. I'm sorry.
I think that's him. After they closed down the resort, did he just stay behind? What is it, boy? Was he your friend?
Okay, so there's also something that could.
Boy,
There's also potential that
what is it?
the Ma and Lillian are the same being. Gonna fall right off that.
So special.
Stay the fuck away from me!
Let me try you on.
Oh, she's not gonna fall off there. She's gonna jump off there. Run sequence. Yep. Oh, wow. Alright, we made it to the fort. It's like right behind us, dude. Ooh, boy. That was a cool sequence.
Is it gone?
Find a way through the ruins. I do wonder as well if, because they talk about how it's like triggering sequences and stuff like that. I do wonder if the maw is like an embodiment of like trauma, because it talks about like it looks like it's like sucking people dry and destroying them, right? And a lot of this resort was built after World War II. So there's a lot of that carryover, because it wasn't long, you know. Yeah, it was like 20 years or so, but still, it's not a whole lot of time after the stuff that's happened, you know. That's Jack. What is Jack doing here?
Who's there?
You promise.
No risk.
This isn't real. It can't be.
And the reason why I think maybe it's not just trauma, maybe it's just the idea of like dealing with stuff that you don't want to deal with, or just mental health in general.
No.
It
can't be.
Because she just lost her father figure, and of course doesn't know anything about her past. I don't know, like I don't know how deep, because when developers go into stuff that talks about like mental illness and trauma and stuff like that, there's a lot of stuff that then can be used as illusions, with an A, not I, not illusions like magic, but like allusions to different forms of like mental illness and trauma, and you know, people's reaction to it and the embodiments of it. So okay.
You're not him. You're not him.
Oh, we're supposed to be following footsteps. Okay. Oh, something's down there. I don't like that one bit. I don't think we're gonna get any more postcards either. I think now that we've found Francis and the last 2 postcards that he had, I think
I've helped you pass on.
we're done with the groundskeeper postcards.
I shouldn't be here, Marianne. It's all your fault.
Jack?
It's too late, Marianne. It's all over. It all
In me. Okay, so it is the maw messing with her. Because the maw always said that it says it all ends in me. Yep. Oh, I wasn't expecting to have to click. Ah.
Move your ass.
Okay. Although the phrase it keeps repeating is it all ends in me. That also could reference, and I don't know if we'll ever figure it out. It's really dependent on the developer. It could also be a reference that the maw is the embodiment of suicide. You know, some people, in order to escape the things that they have endured, take that.
A generator. Wonder if it still works.
Okay, so it needs gas.
Locked down tight. I think there's a lever missing.
Alright, time to do exploration. I'm guessing the maw is going to be up here, and we're going to have to get some stealth sequences. There's the jerry can. Somehow still has gas in it. That's exceptionally surprising. Because gas tends to evaporate, but I guess if it's relatively cold, but still, it depends on how long it's there, I guess. Because squatters could have brought it with them. I'm gonna push this down.
Come on, Bolt. Don't fail me now.
I feel like it's gonna break soon.
Fuck, that was loud.
You think? Okay. Although I will say the one thing about certain the past sequences is the maw being invisible makes it a little less tense for me. I don't know, it like, it's interesting because, like, I'm always of the philosophy, be careful how much you show off your creature. But we've seen them all before. And the sequences where it's invisible, it's just like, you know, like that sequence there, it's like, yeah, we could see it stomping through the mud, but I feel like it'd be a bit more intimidating if it had, like, a silhouette or a glow or something. But that's just a minor gripe that I have. Oh, it. Like that. Because I ran smack dab into him. I didn't realize we could see it with insight. Oh, that's actually considerably more helpful. Okay. I take it back. It's actually my fault, unless they didn't tell us that before, that because I didn't realize with insight, not only do we get an arrow that tells us how close the maw is, it also shows us the silhouette of it, which is kind of all I was asking for. Thank you for a few. Forgot to say hi. I got wrapped up in the game again. Oh yes, I'm doing much better. Thank you for asking. Yeah, it's a very, very good game. It actually reminds me, so there, as far as we could tell, there's not really any combat. The closest we've gotten to combat was Thomas, like, deflecting tentacles in the Richard sequence. It reminds me that, like, one of my favorite Silent Hills, if not my favorite Silent Hill, is actually the only one that doesn't have combat, and I think that's because the sequences have more tension because you're having to, like, run away from stuff. Now, it does get a bit tedious. I will agree with that critique of it, but I like the idea that, like, these, like, third-person horror games don't have to have a form of combat. Because, like, combat, if used well, can be fine. But the problem is a lot of times in these kinds of games, in Silent Hill especially, if you play through those games, the combat is not the best.
At least this could come in handy.
Like, it's... Struck by lightning, huh? That's gotta suck.
Is that what you're afraid of?
The light? Yeah.
Energy.
Energy's energy. Alright, so we should be able to climb down this way.
I'm almost back at the generator.
Convenient. Alright, so we have a lever, we have gas. But yeah, I don't know. I would love to go back and maybe I'll do that after we beat the game. Go back and see how like players reviewed this, because if I remember correctly,
Gates open.
like, critical reviews of the game were pretty high. Like, most critics seem to like it, but I like watching player reviews because it's interesting to see what people put like weight in.
Okay. Still down there. Let's do something about it.
Are we gonna push the generator into the water and, like, electrify it? I'm curious.
Shut your fucking mouth!
Indeed.
Yes! Burn, you twisted fucking bitch!
Language. Warranted, but language. That 100% did not kill it.
God, I hope this is over.
Not even close. But yeah, I honestly, other than it, like most of my complaints with the game are with like optimization. Like it doesn't run very well for me, at least. Maybe dropping it down to medium helped it. I'm not sure. But that, and we've had a crash, like it like hard crashed on us. But other than that, I really don't have any complaints with this game.
Sounds like...
Oh. Let's say we're gonna see Sadness again, right? Yep, there she is.
Sadness? Sadness, is that you?
Hi, Marianne. Did you find what you were looking for?
Not yet.
I was hoping you could tell me. Sadness. I need you to focus. Think back to as far as you can remember. What do you see?
Is this a game?
I'm afraid not, hon. This is important. Listen. I know what Richard did. Was he the one keeping you here?
Marianne!
It's okay. I've sent him away. He's gone forever. Lily.
Lily? Lily.
That used to be your name. Do you remember? All that's happened. Your father. You remember him?
I remember. Mommy. Oh, she was so pretty. But so sad. Just like you.
It must be nice to remember your mommy. I never met my parents. We were in an accident when I was very little. I was the only one who made it. It was really lonely without them.
Okay.
I know what that's like. Ever since my friends.
I'm not convinced that this is Liliana.
This is a lonely place, Marianne.
Uh-oh. Took her mask off.
I shouldn't be here.
Maybe you'd be better off somewhere else. Maybe I could...
Send me away? No, Marianne. I can't leave. Not yet.
But why?
Hmm.
Are you afraid of the monster?
And she's gone. Yeah.
I am. But it doesn't need me anymore. It wants you. And when it breaks you, when it puts you on, it'll finally be able to leave this place. But it will never be full. It will never stop killing.
Then let me send you away. so we can both leave. Now that you remember who you are, I can...
No, Marianne. It's not just about me. It's you. You have to remember. The dream. The fire. The red house.
What?
Interesting.
What is the red house?
You were there, Marianne. With me. You were always with me. I'm so sorry.
Lily? Shit.
Well, that looks inviting. At least in this world. In that world, it just looks like a burned down house. But this world is like...
Gone.
So...
Just when I thought I could finally send her away.
So I wanted to point out something...
Thomas? I really hope you're still out here.
Um...
I'm running out of options.
So they did a really interesting thing that I think is very smart from a development standpoint. So the creatures, or these entities that are talking to us, for the most part, are wearing masks. Now from a development standpoint, I think that's very smart, because that means you don't have to animate people talking, because that's a lot of work. For anybody that's done any animation, especially 3D animation, it's not easy. Especially to make it look realistic. Usually it'll look odd and people can tell, but having a mask, that allows it to play it. Also, that plays in the idea that if this is, talking about mental illness and stuff, the one thing that a lot of people do, in fact, most people do, when they have to deal with their own mental illness, is mask stuff, right? They hide behind a mask of, oh, look, I'm just fine. I'm fine, but it's not true, right? Because they're hiding behind a mask. So it's very interesting. Again, I don't know how much of that is intentional to the developer. I would hope it would be, but yeah, it's literally like the psychological term for like doing actions and stuff to hide from that stuff, or to not deal with it, is called oh, we're missing like a doll or something. It's called masking. So your name is MaskofGames, full circle. Well, it's funny because like that's actually part of the reason why my name is MaskofGames, is because, can we take one of these dolls? I guess we're gonna have to step further. Is because the mask I'm wearing is the game we're playing. This is my escape, if you will. So it's the thing that I hide behind.
I'm sorry, but Father doesn't like it when I talk to strangers.
Smart man. He's the manager around here, right? Would you happen to know where he is?
Yeah, we still don't know who this is.
I'd love to have a word with him.
Go away, or I'll scream.
Clever girl.
Yes, also, hi, Eddie. Very poetic. I use video games as a way of escaping. Yes. That's kind of the...
What the hell happened here?
There we go.
July 27th, 1983. A Gemini case. The investigation's moving along, but I think Rekovich is starting to suspect something. Need to move fast. Tonight's the night.
So they knew about Thomas. But how much exactly? And who the hell were they?
Yeah. Also, another reason why it's MaskofGames, because there's multiple reasons. Is because when you play video games, you get to be...
Oh, hey, a eunuch. Someone's got good taste.
You get to be other people, so you get to put on a mask when you play a game. Love the dual gameplay of this. Yeah, my problem is my brain can only focus on one, so I'm like, okay, yeah, look at this like garage, and then I happen to look down, I'm like, that looks horrific. So, okay, so that's the doll.
This looks like it could lift a pound or two. It's missing a handle, though.
Never thought you'd be an assassin saving the world. Yeah, exactly. Because that's the thing. Games are not only a great escape, they're a great way to just be someone else.
No, they're already on to us. Son of a bitch is one of them. I can feel it. Fine, we'll make sure. Come on. Almost on.
One of them? Who are you running from, Thomas?
I mean, RPG games are probably the most common. Did I ever play Odyssey? Oh yeah, I've played all three of the new one. I just didn't stream Odyssey because the thing is I played right before I started streaming again. I played Odyssey, so I didn't want to play through it all again right after just playing through all of it, because those games there's a lot to them. So we played Origins instead, and then played Valhalla when it came out. All right, I'm guessing we're gonna need the energy for something down here.
There's something under that engine. If only I could lift it somehow.
Got it. I was wondering where that was at your past streams. Yeah, that's the only one I haven't streamed.
Power's out. Power's out.
All right, where does this wire go? Goes up above. Can we get upstairs somehow? Yeah, I saw that they were doing the crossover. We need to revisit it because I haven't done the Siege of Paris stuff yet. Wait, what was that? Oh, here we go. There's something... There it is. There's something like moaning at me over here. Itchy nose, dude.
Probably use a well-deserved smoke. It's Francis, right?
Excuse me, but who are you exactly?
Oh, just a guy looking to do the right thing. I imagine some would call me a patriot. Are you a patriot, Francis?
Patriot, huh? I imagine others would call you something else entirely.
I'm actually very torn when it comes to the Assassin's Creed games, like the three most recent ones. Well, mostly the two most recent ones, because like both Cassandra and Ivor, or Eivor, not Ivor. There was a little bit of a back and forth with that. Are really, really solid characters, but they kind of... What am I stuck on? Hello? I think it broke. I think it broke. There we go. Yeah, it did indeed. But, like, I feel like Odyssey did a better job of making you feel super powerful, and Valhalla kind of pulled it back a bit when it comes to...
The thing's unstable. I can't keep it running for too long.
Okay, so then what I need to do is be inside. So let's fill up our energy. He played as Alexios. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I don't think he's terrible. A lot of people were like, don't ever play him. I played Cassandra. Cassandra is a much more likable character in my opinion. But in Odyssey, I can walk into a fort of bad guys with a big hammer and just fight and fight and fight and fight and fight. In Valhalla, you could do that somewhat, but not quite as much. So I feel like Valhalla was kind of this middle ground between like Origins and Odyssey. So I don't know. I liked them both, but it's hard for me to decide which one I like better because I like them. I like different parts for different reasons. Playing as him, right, and I regret it. He sounds, yeah. That was kind of the issue that I had heard going into it because I didn't play it like right on release, but I heard a lot of people being like, yeah, don't. Alexios is nothing compared to Cassandra. Hardest difficulty, so I never feel powerful in Odyssey. That's fair.
The Red House?
I mean, you'll get there.
It was then I knew.
It takes a little while, especially once you get like legendary weapons and stuff.
Right in front of me.
Also, I think that's another thing. I liked the loot a lot. Okay. I liked the loot a lot better in Odyssey. I know there's a bunch of randomness to it, which a lot of people didn't enjoy, but I feel like it felt cooler than the stuff that I found in Valhalla. Although I did, you can't find like Mjolnir and Gungnir, and I'm trying to think Excalibur, stuff like that. So, all right, what do we got going on here?
When you hear them squeal and you smell their bodies burning, you'll tell me everything. You'll beg me to listen.
God. There were children inside. Was she? Was I?
Okay. I have to get some information here. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I figured. No? Okay, we can't go in. Must be like another path or something. You're watching Vikings right now, so you're dying to play Valhalla. Yeah, Valhalla's really fun. I enjoyed Valhalla a lot.
Goddamn freaks. You think you're so special? You'll burn just like the rest of us.
Oh my.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Indeed. Okay, that's the way we came. Must be something else over here, because it won't let us go in just yet. At least it didn't before. Let's see. Yeah, it's still not gonna let us go in yet. So it's probably something down this way past this guy. Can we even go down this way? No. Doesn't seem like it. Oh, maybe this way? Nope. That's just a dead end. Oh, there's spirit. There's a big old spirit trail right here on the top screen. See, I can't do it. I can't focus on two screens, man. It keeps messing me up. That was the lighter. Oh boy, we're about to get some more story.
Okay, let's see who you really are. You fuck.
Language.
Tight, huh? You wanna give it a go? Be my guest. Nah, this one's all yours. I like to think I'm more of the brains of the operation. Yeah, I got an idea. Why don't we... or that. Yeah, that's word too, I guess. Right. What do we have here?
So,
I knew he was trouble.
some sort of official?
Security service. That real shit.
That's no way to talk about a government agent, comrade.
Henry. Okay, so we got a name. He does. He does sound a lot like Keanu. That's what I thought first. I was like, wow, that's an interesting voice.
Wake up, comrade. Socialism ain't gonna build itself.
Fuck. You don't know who you're messing with, kid.
Oh, but I do. I've spent a lot of time getting to know you, Thomas. In fact, you're kind of a pet project of mine.
Oh, yeah? What's my Speedo size?
Funny guy. Oh, I love this one. You like it too, comrade?
Fuck you.
Let's play a game. It's called What Makes Thomas Tick? So, the Nazis found you in Warsaw when you were, what, 3 years old? Oh, they were gonna kill you, but they didn't. No, they saw your potential and wanted to harness it. But then, poof, the war's over. In comes the heroic Red Army, and
They locked me up for years. Fucking savages.
they do important scientific research.
Are those chainmail gloves?
About what it is
Indeed. Oof.
special. And what is that exactly?
Ask your mom.
Pop.
You enjoy it, don't you? Hurting people like those scientists. What were you? 18? I saw the photographs. I know how to make a man hurt, but I gotta say, I was impressed.
Stick around. I'll give you a live demonstration.
And there you were, free at last, but always on the run. And look at you, you almost made it. But you had to use this power of yours again. And on who? On your best friend, Richard.
Here they're coming.
Yes. I know you wanted revenge, I understand. I would do anything for my child, too. Whatever it takes.
Leave my children out of this.
Children. Yes. How much pain would you endure to keep them safe? What would you sacrifice for them? Your freedom, maybe?
Let me go, you piece of shit.
That's what I thought. I'll let you go. But first, I want you to tell me all about these powers of yours.
Then earn it! Come on! Enough of this sissy shit! Hit me!
I thought you'd never ask. Get some rest, Thomas. The next time you wake up, the real pain begins. Wake up, sleepyhead. Time's running out.
What did you do?
Here. See yourself.
No! You sick fuck! Let me out of here! Let me out!
They're still in there, Thomas. Will you show me now?
I will. Conrad. Whatever. Takes.
Huh.
Fucking finally. I thought he'd never give us a chance. Okay. Gotta move fast. Thankfully, this place has a way of messing with the time flow. I still got a chance to save them. All work and no play, are you, Henry? All right. Let's see what makes you tick. No way across. Guess I'll just make my own.
Oh, that's cool.
Fuck. I'm not alone in here.
You think you would be? Man just set a house full of people on fire. He's obviously got something going on. Ooh, looks like a big dog. Come on. Walking very slow. What do we have here? Something there.
There you are. At least the part of you I'm after.
Okay. Case file 735212. Codename Butcher. Suspect Jacob Wilk. Theft, fraud, illegal trade. Henry Wilk Sr. Ah! So we've got a name now. Henry Wilk. I wonder if he has... Maybe he has the power too, and they were using it to, like, catch criminals, but to get in the head of a criminal is, you know, very dangerous for one's psyche. Or maybe criminal got to his family. I don't know. We'll find out. Oh, there's something here. Reel tape. I didn't even see a projector. Was there a projector over here? Oh, I guess it could be an audio tape. Oh, can we just... Oh, we can just put it up here. Okay. It is an audio tape.
Do you know why you're here?
I'm not playing your games, Henry.
Don't call me that. The agency was led to believe you've been stealing meat from the working people of the Republic.
Where would they get that idea, I wonder?
You've been a very bad boy.
Let's just get this over with.
Given your line of work, you had ample opportunity to commit your crime. It is a crime against the people. Punishable by death. Anything to say in your defense?
I'm sorry, Henry.
Okay. Something going on there. I do like this. So every time we run into an entity, the world changes. So like with Richard, it was a lot of like tendrils and tentacles and like sliminess. This is like a bunch of like filing cabinets and paperwork, and it's very interesting. Because they could have easily just made like every world that kind of basic dust, desert kind of bone thing, but they specifically, because each mind is different, so they definitely are embodying that in the different designs of these worlds. I guess this is gonna not end well for us. I'll say the atmosphere is great in this sequence. Yeah, like they did a smart thing. Ration stamps issued by the Polish People's Republic. Ah, okay, so that's what that meant by stealing meat. You have to be careful when you use red light. One, because it makes things hard to see, and two, it can be very abrasive to the eyes. But thankfully, they've done a thing where it's slightly orangey, so it's not as abrasive to the eyes as it would be if it was just like a bright red light. Okay, so we're gonna need...
You hide from me. Where there you are.
Oh, something about Henry's father. I guess we need to go this way? Yeah, okay.
Come here.
Do you prefer linear?
You hide from me. Bad boy.
It depends on the game.
There you are.
Not sure how we're supposed to hide. We don't really have maybe the shield? Okay, it looks like the shield might be it. Well, we'll give that a go. Or maybe I just timed it right to thing. But yeah, it depends on the game. I like exploring things, I like finding things, but I also don't mind just exploring through a story, especially if it's well told. Wondering how you were supposed to dodge the light. I think you can dodge the lights. I think it's just a timing thing, which I'm not exceptionally good at. Alright, so we're trying to find an energy source to help us break through the thing. But because that's the thing, is some games I feel work really well in certain, like if they're linear or open world, and others don't. Like there's a reason why there's not a whole lot of like open world horror games. And that's because in order to build tension, you need to kind of lock the experience down. So it's a lot harder to do that if everything's open to you, right? Miss linear games. Oh, there's tons of linear games. It's just you just gotta find.
Steady hand, even motions against the grain. Always against, never with. Always against, never with. Steady hand, even motions against the grain. Always against, never with. Always against.
Gonna play the Uncharted series soon, just for the linear style. I haven't played Uncharted. I don't know. I just never really had an interest in it.
Steady hand, even motions against the grain. Always against, never with. Always against, never with. Steady hand, even motions
But
against the grain. Always against.
the thing is with open world, you
Steady hand, even motions against the grain. Always against, never with.
you have to be very careful with open world games as well, because it's very easy to
Against the grain. Always against.
it's very easy to make a bunch of content that like no one wants to do because it's not interesting, right? It's just another cave or another ruin. So you have to make sure that even in open world games that the open world's worth doing, otherwise players will just play a few hours and get done with it. Yes, I remember the Spirit Blast. Bam.
Steady hand, even motions against the grain.
Like, I wouldn't mind seeing an open world horror game, but again, you'd have to find a way
Even motions against the
to make that work.
always against.
And I feel like it would be more of the things you find in the world would be like horror, whereas the world itself would just be kind of like unsettling, would probably be the best way of handling that. Okay, so something's going on here.
Good.
Okay, so
That's good. See how easy it is when you do as you're told.
oh, okay, so friend Henry's dad is the butcher. Would Dark Souls be considered horror? I see that this is where you get in the conversation of whether something's horror or horror adjacent, and then what that exactly means. Hold on, let's read this. I'll get to that in just a second. Patriotism stronger than blood. Not often do we see patriotism such quality as displayed during the past by Senior Constable Henry Wilk. A simple officer of the Civic Police, Wilk showed his commitment to building a righteous tomorrow of People's Republic by rejecting the shackles of criminal kinship. His daring investigation into the now infamous meat scandal led to the number of arrests, including Jacob Wilk, Henry's own father. Ah. The irregularities uncovered by Officer Wilk included corruption, theft of high-quality meat products, replacing them for lesser ones. Apart from Jacob Wilk, numerous of other culprits have been apprehended, including 4 directors of socialized meat trade and several store managers. The trial is commenced this morning, Thursday. If accused are found guilty of their crimes, they most likely face execution by hanging. When asked for a comment, Officer Henry Wilk's response was simple. I only did what felt just. Truly the words of a patriot. So he turned his own father in. ID card issued in 79, expires in 90. Henry Wilk, agent of the Secret Service. But I feel like there's parts of Dark Souls that you could probably...
You want me to feel sorry for you, Henry? Let's see how that works.
that could feel horror, and I think actually Dark Souls 2 in some circles, like I think Steam might actually classify or have a tag for horror for Dark Souls 1. Okay, we need another tape or another reel. So I think there's parts that, yes, could be considered horror, but I don't think I would, if people are like, I want to play a horror game, I don't think I would point them towards Dark Souls. Alright, where is this reel at? There it is. Is that it right there? Oh no, it's in the drawer. Okay.
Vilk, is it? Henry Vilk?
Vilk.
What's this about?
Straight to the point. No fear, no hesitation.
If you wanted me dead, I'd be dead already. So, what do you want?
I want to offer you a job.
I'm listening.
I've been doing this a long time. I've come to know people. See what makes them tick.
Well, that's where you got that from.
Potential.
Agreed. On one condition.
Huh?
The work I do for you, it stays at work.
That's the way we like it.
It has to. If it doesn't, I'm holding you accountable.
Welcome to the family.
Okie dokie. So I guess that's when he moved into the more secretive side of stuff. But yeah, when it comes to horror, there's a discussion to have of like intention, like it has the intention to scare or intention to be horror. Because you could argue, like the game we played before this, Jenny LeClue, you could argue that wouldn't be really a horror game. It has horror sequences, you know, spooky sequences, some darkness to it, but not. Most people probably wouldn't classify that as a horror game. They would say that's kind of just a murder mystery, right? And they wouldn't be wrong. So I think it really comes down to the intention. Like, was the intention to be a horror game? Because like by the intention logic, sorry, Dead Rising is technically a horror game, right? Now it's goofy, it's very, very silly game, and you wouldn't look at it and think of it and be like, oh yeah, that's definitely a horror game, other than the fact that it's, you know, a horde of zombies and, you know, some sort of dark scheme. But so it's Yeah.
You ever heard of Neva?
Assignment for Major Henry Wilk. A person of interest has been found in the Neva Workers Resort near Cal. Local investigators reported a strange case involving painter. That was Richard. Okay. The person was found alive but in a vegetative state. Foul play is suspected, but examination didn't show signs of brain trauma. The connection to the Gemini case, consult the classified files. Keep it clean, keep it quiet. This is what we've been training you for. Note, I strongly recommend that you acquaint yourself with the Soviet scientist notes we acquired during classified in 1950. You've been granted access to the archive entry 1138. This is for your own eyes only. Wilk, dig in, report your case officer for further briefing. Ooh, okay. So he had some information going in. Gemini project, it seems, is the thing here. What is this? Test subject blank, session 42. The subject continues to manifest strong supernatural powers. He claims that another blank is talking to him, classified, showing visions, working through a suspected connection to classified, possibly established as a result of a near-death experience. More tests necessary to confirm the split theory. Okay, so they had other subjects that can kind of do this thing. That definitely sounds like a wolf or a dog or something. Session 43. Today's session halted prematurely due to an incident in the test chamber while administering prescribed substances. Lead scientist Dr. Classified came into skin-to-skin contact with the subject. Classified was promptly hospitalized. Despite showing no signs of physical trauma, he fell into a vegetative state from which he is yet to recover. Further sessions have been halted indefinitely. Okay, so just physical contact can do it. Oh, hello. That's the closest we've gotten to the creature so far. What are we looking at? Session 44. Reminder for today's scheduled session. Despite increased dosage, this subject remains extremely dangerous and needs to be restrained both physically and mentally for the duration of the test. Heightened security measures apply. Oh. It just stopped moving, so that's a bit weird.
Shit, here he comes. Shit. Almost got me this time.
Did he, though? Okay. Across the plank. Indeed. Also, it seems that Thomas seems to have more control over this or at least more abilities in this spirit world than Marianne does. And I wonder if that's because of all the testing and training that he went through, whereas Marianne has just been like self-trained powers.
Can't get me up here, can you? There. Got you right where I wanted. Time to put you out of your misery. And stay the fuck down.
Language. Alright, so I guess we're gonna get the last bit of information on Henry here, and then Mom, Dad, and me. Why is me in a wheelchair? Interesting, okay.
I'm going away tonight. Business trip, short notice. Couldn't be helped.
Won't you say goodbye to him?
I'm not sure if that's a good idea. I have work on my mind.
I see.
And again, maybe I should. Do you think I should?
Whatever you wish, dear.
Okay, so he had a family. It seems like his son, that is... Okay, I'm not sure why there's a scimitar. Oh, it's a wooden scimitar. I was like, oh god.
Dad?
Okay, so he has a son named Simon who's in a wheelchair.
Are you going away again?
Daddy has to go to work. Once I get back, we can go fishing. You'd like that, wouldn't you?
I don't like it when you go.
I know. But sometimes Daddy needs to work. It's good for all of us. You understand, don't you?
Yes, Father.
Okay. All right. So we should probably be coming up on the last bit of this. Oh, this is... That looks like a castle. Very ominous. Is it a mine palace? Keeping himself locked away, yeah. Makes sense.
This is it.
You made it. You're just in time.
That's right, kid. Just come to me. I'll put an end to it. I'll set you free.
Totally not a trap.
It won't let us leave. The monster, it's...
Don't worry about the monster, kid. I'll deal with it. Put it down for good.
Not if it puts you down first.
What did you say?
It's a trap.
What is that?
A guilty conscience. The vulnerable child behind the monster. There is no child. There is no...
Oh, Hound. That's what the entity is called.
Your tricks won't work on me, old man.
Got him. Excuse me? What was that second name again? I guess we get to have a conversation with the Hound now. Also, that's why it makes sense that her world is like covered in dust and ash and stuff because of the fire.
It's him. It was always him.
There's the Hound.
Thomas.
Thomas is gone. You're too late, girl.
It's you. You tried to kill us. What did you do to her? What did you do to Lillian?
I was already dead. Your father made sure of that. That's a good one. Little Mary Ann forgot her own daddy.
Then who was it? Who killed her? I saw her ghost. What happened to her?
It's three. Was it the nurse? The painter? The monster from under the bed? Maybe. It was her own papa.
What the hell are you talking about? He wanted to save us. To save her.
Maybe. In a way, that's exactly what he did.
Fucking madness.
This place. It reeks of it. Madness. Grief. And suffering. They're all around you. Just give it. Listen.
Then it's about time to clean it up. Once and for all.
Hmm.
I'm sending you where you belong. Henry!
Okay. See, it's okay. They get another.
Rekovich. My father. Was he the man on the pier? The man with the gun? The murderer from my dream? How could he? Why? I needed to know what happened after the fire. What happened to them? To me.
See, I think the only thing that's a bit confusing is it's very hard to create a timeline with all of the information we've been given because it transcends time. Because that's even something that Thomas mentioned. Because honestly, we don't know how old she is. As far as I know. I don't know if we ever got her age. Because, like, since we've been in this area finding all this information out, we've traveled all the way back to, like, the 1940s. And this game, in theory, takes place in 1999 because she had a voice line that referenced that, right? So that's 59 years that we've encountered through notes, through sequences and stuff like that. So I've been trying to like make sure that it's piecing together. The problem is I feel like it felt like the Thomas we're seeing was a long time ago. But if she's like, say she's like in her 30s, right? That would make sense because that would make Thomas like 60 or 70 now. But it's very difficult. We're missing some like pieces of information and like how exactly long it's been. Okay.
This was your home once. There's got to be something here. A family photo. It's sad to see it like this.
Okay, so I'm guessing.
Forgotten.
So I'm guessing this is probably Marianne, and this is probably Lily Ann, because they specifically gave her these little pigtails to denote that. I feel. Okay.
Another photo.
Okay.
Somehow it feels wrong to just leave them lying around.
Okay, no names, but yeah, I feel like that's the case.
I feel like I should find somewhere to put it.
Maybe that's what this next sequence is going to help with. Okay, we got to put them in order. The first one is this. Second one is that. Third one is that.
The Rekovich family history.
Okay.
Is that a dollhouse? How the hell did it survive the fire?
Fire is weird like that.
Locked. Maybe there's a way to open it.
Maybe. We'll see. Oh, something right here. What is this? Butterflies.
But I can still make out some of it.
Oh, interesting. Okay, because remember, she does have a butterfly collection in her old room.
All right. Let's see what's on the flip side of this place.
Be on the flip side. Do we still have the... we still do have the razor blade.
An ornate butterfly.
Okay.
What?
So that go...
Strange. It's like feelings etched into the wall. This looks eerily familiar.
Is it her mask? Or maybe her mom's mask? Mask of Joy. Ornate butterfly. Okay. Can't seem to interact with anything else around here. Got a lot of symbols, but... Alright, so, yeah.
The dollhouse. It's open.
Is it now?
It looks like a replica of the actual house.
Oh.
Looks like I could put something here.
Alright, so we've got... Looks like...
A tiny mirror. I wonder.
If we move the mirror, it moves the rooms.
Strange. It feels like something shifted.
I'm betting if we go through the mirror now, something's gonna be different. Yep.
I knew it. The dollhouse, the mirrors.
That's cool.
Connected.
It's...
This room feels like I shouldn't be here.
It's a very simple premise, but it's very cool.
I think this belongs here.
Fish toy.
Hey. Another one of those butterflies.
Okay, I'm guessing this is...
I hate you. All of you.
Oh.
None of you know. None of you understand.
I do.
Hmm. Mask of Calm.
Were those the friends Satnus talked about?
Okay. So it seems like the mom might have got to her.
Underneath.
Which we kind of already figured a little bit.
What is this? A tea party with the devil?
Okay, so we need one more mask. We're gonna hold off on doing that until we get all 3 masks. Okay, let's go into the last room. It's probably gonna be our old room, if I had to guess, and that's where the butterflies are gonna go.
This room. It feels
Yeah.
very familiar.
Oh, wait, what?
I don't need her. She took my mom away from me. I hate her. I
Oh.
wish she was dead.
Lily, No,
That-
it was not my fault.
That explains... Okay, so maybe the ages were
What
flipped.
the hell's happening to me?
So maybe I flipped the ages, but that explains why the mom wasn't in the last picture. She probably died during childbirth or sometime after.
Locked. 4 slots.
Okay. We don't have 4 butterflies yet, I don't think, but the last one should be here. Yeah, we don't have 4 butterflies, but this could also be the mask. Nope, this is the 4th butterfly.
Hope that's the last of them.
Okay. So, let's take the mirror back, because the mirror gives us the first 2. This one tells us what the first 2 are. I'm guessing the last mask is whatever. Okay, so... Fire red, yellow and red. Okay, so black and red, yellow, red. Do we just have to match the shapes, I guess?
Save yourself. Let me help you.
What about her?
Leave her.
Let her burn.
Oh.
Oh God. That's 3.
Okay.
This is like an emotional graveyard.
Joy, calm, wonder. Okay, so now we need to go back to her room. This give us... Alright, so let's put it here for just a second, because she said there was emotions on the mantelpiece. And I'm wondering if we can kind of decipher from there. No, it doesn't seem like that's anything. I feel like that was probably just the puzzle for opening the dollhouse in the first place. Wait. No, it was the room on the right. Or the left, sorry. That room. Okie dokie. So... Happy.
I understand. I can feel your pain.
What the hell?
Happy.
We can show them. We can make them understand. Make them feel what it's like.
But I can't leave her here. She'll die.
Good. Remember, Mommy? It's all her fault.
No, she's my sister.
Then set me free. And I will save you both.
Ah, shit.
God damn it.
Wow.
That thing. It came from her. Bought its way out with our lives. Lily. I need to find her.
Okay.
Huh. The basement looks almost intact.
Yeah, because
Maybe I'll find some clues down here.
a fire wouldn't necessarily destroy your basement. He's out there somewhere, that much I know. Hell, the fact that I'm sitting here writing this, not drooling in the corner, is proof enough. I just gotta find him. Funny, I always wanted to be crossed out alone. What did it say? Oh, alone. Okay. Crossed out alone. The only one. Now I'm starting to think there was never really two of us. Maybe we were just two sides of the same coin. Either way, I need him. I need myself to save her. Okay. Something's making noise over here. The baby shoe.
Tell me about the fire, Lily. You were locked in, alone?
No, we were not alone.
No? Who else was there?
The voice. I didn't invite it, but it came anyway.
Oh, Lily.
Okay, so it's definitely seems to be hinting towards that Thomas killed Lily because he didn't want the maw to be free.
Daddy, where is Marianne?
She needs to stay at the hospital a while longer.
Will she be all right? I want to see her.
She's asleep, honey. The doctors aren't sure when she's gonna wake up.
I was in a coma. That's why I couldn't remember anything.
That's a needle.
Lily, listen. You have to come with me now.
Daddy? Where are you taking me?
I'm sorry, baby. I'm so sorry.
Thomas. What the hell did you do to her?
She's sick, but it's not physical. He was right. That terrible night, something has awakened. Something was born inside her, is eating her from the inside, preying on her strength. Her little body withers. I have to do something. We need to do something. Uh-oh. Don't like where that's headed. What is this?
Jesus, this thing is serious. Looks like it's military. Solid steel. Combination lock.
Oh, what is the number on that? What's the James Orwell book? We saw it. Hold on, let me Google it. There's a James Orwell book we saw at the beginning. I don't think it's the code. I'm sure it's like someone's birth year, but where's my phone at? I don't know where my phone is. Never mind. Okay, let's see if we can find out where. Unless the code is like Lily. That could make sense too. Like the numbers that would represent Lily. Ah, but there's stuff in here, so.
Barely legible. But I can still make out some of it.
Receipt, matter of time, watch shop, order. Date 19. Okay, so something about a watch.
A lot of love was put into this.
Happy anniversary, 10 years, time flies.
Sadness, too.
There's something to help you keep track. Love you, you big dummy. Okay, so this was probably a watch that his wife got for him. But we need to find that watch. Receipt. 414 or 14-4 maybe, because it said 10 years, so 10 years. Okay, so maybe it's his anniversary, which would be 10 years from 76, so 1966, maybe it's his anniversary year. One, 9. Come on. Yeah, okay.
In for a pound.
So it was his anniversary year. Easy peasy. I don't like underground corridors. Especially if... Oh, pfft. They didn't even give me a chance to figure out what was going on. I was trying to figure out which direction we were going and then just grabbed. By the way, if you haven't seen the mall, that's what the mall looks like in the flesh. Let's try that again. I'm not sure what's happening. I'm guessing we're supposed to run, but I get like a fraction of a second. There we go.
Shit! What will it take to get rid of that fucking thing?
It's done. They'll never know. They can never know. They wouldn't understand. They would never forgive me, but they are safe. That's what matters. Separation. It's the only way. Okay, we don't have any energy. So I guess we're gonna have to go find some.
What is this place? Some sort of a fallout shelter?
Well, that makes sense because the Cold War did happen. During this time period, or at least during her childhood.
There. That looks like a way out. But it's half underwater.
Okay, just making sure we don't miss anything. Can we chop these down? No. Okay. Okay.
Maybe I could pump out the water from here.
Ooh boy, that's a lot of information. All right, pump control, water level indicator, measures water flow direction.
Ugh, out of juice. Because, of course it is.
When they first stumbled upon the site, we thought it was just an old German bunker, a couple corridors, maybe some outdated supplies. 2 weeks of excavation later, we found that old, funny Mustachio must have had big plans for this place. Whole system of underground tunnels, reinforced concrete walls, the whole shebang. Guess he wanted to have himself a little forced retreat in case the whole master race thing didn't work out. The commies did what they do best, stolen it for themselves. They wanted to repurpose it into a full-on nuclear shelter. They even got a power grid going, but that's as far as they got before the dream of Niwa went to crap. Okay. Okay, so that's back to the power thing. And that's how we're gonna power it, but we've still got to find a source. We've got to find a place to drain power from so that we can turn it on in the first place.
levels are flooded. And I'm not much of a diver.
Okay, I think we just circled. Yeah, okay, so we just went in a big circle. We've got to find a way to power... this. Maybe by doing that, we can go around the other way. There's something over here? No, okay.
Okay, let's get a lay of the land.
Okay, yeah, no, I get all that. We might have to go on a spirit walk. But we need to find out where exactly. Okay, down here. There we go. There's the source. Oh, I'm stuck. I don't know what happened. Use your spirit shield. Well, I tried that, and I think you need energy for that, so... Where are we? Oh, nice. Set us all the way back here without the door open. Kind. Okay, so we can't get to that source.
Some sort of a fallout shelter?
Can't get to that source because there's mods in the way. Unless I missed like a different path.
Lower levels are flooded. I'm not much of a diver.
So if we go down here, it's just moths, right? Yeah. So we can't get to that source, so we're gonna have to go through, I think, probably the next tank, and then make our way back, because there was another path. We'll have to go down here. There we go. Okay. So now we've gotten power, which means we can do the power and the puzzle that engages with that. Turn that off because that does absolutely nothing for us.
Maybe I could pump up the water from here.
All right, and then we can do.
Yes.
Okay. So.
Oh, shit. Looks like both retention tanks are closed off. Maybe I could get down there and open them manually. Okay. I can probably get to the first tank now.
Okay.
Naughty girl. Bitch. Grateful.
Oh, he's right there. Hi.
For me.
Right there.
Not for me. Where would you be? What would you be? Burnt, charred, scorched, dead. You owe me!
Okay. We have to be careful going down here because there's moths in the spirit world. We should have enough energy to shield through it. Okay.
There. Now it's ready to gulp down some water.
Okay. So that gets that.
I'm so glad you're here. Not enough. Never enough. Never full. Never warm. And her. Worn out. Rag.
Okay.
Cut from the same.
Okay, so what we need to do is we need to pump all of the water over like this. And now we can get to the second one, go down, turn on that water tank, and then move the water out.
So good. Now I can get to the other tank.
Okay. Then we'll go this way to get to this tank.
For us to see, for us to eat, for us to wear. Can't go on like this, alone, naked. Just let me wear you.
Shit.
We'll walk
Valve is
this world together.
Please be around, Valve.
Bolt cutters. Also, I think this is like the first ever horror game where since we've got the bolt cutters.
That's my way out.
Since we've gotten the bolt,
Light it up a bit.
since we've got the bolt cutters, we haven't lost them. I say that, and the next time we use them, we're probably gonna lose them. But I find that very interesting. That it's like, you know what, bolt cutters aren't one-use items. You could, use that quite often.
That's it.
Okay.
Second tank ready for duty.
Okay, but it can only hold one.
Pretty girls. So many dolls to play with.
Such pretty things to wear. Francis. Miss Ursula. She was insatiable. And him, the only one to get away.
Okay. Oh, that's not the way we wanted to go.
They never last. But you will.
Alright, so we have to get it out of the central chamber. Okay, I see what we have to do. We have to do this. And then we have to put this one down here into that tank. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Because we have to go through tank 2 through to the central chamber and then out. Because that's why she said, oh, there's my exit.
Yes. The central chamber's open. Okay. Let's get a lay of the land.
Yeah, so we have to go that way. Alright. Problem is the maw is, like, waiting for us in that central chamber, though. So we'll have to see what that means for us. Oh, there we go.
Let them look. Let them see. Let them know. Let them feel our pain. Mine. Let's get back here. No! You cheated! No! Come back! Come back!
Got him. At least for a little while. I was like, wait, that's a dead end. Oh, I get it. Because we can recall ourselves back to our body. So I was like, okay, well, that makes sense.
Thomas. You were here. I can feel it. No, don't do this to me. Burnt to a crisp. Guess I should look for a spare.
Oh no. One of the biggest tropes in all of horror. Find the fuse. Here's what I know. I think I know. The powers come from the same place, but they can manifest in different ways. She seems to exist in both places as if her mind can inhabit two bodies at the same time. To her, whatever happens in one place affects the other. Does she see the line between the two, or are they one and the same? A new hypothesis. Death thins the veil between worlds so that newborn mind never has to split. Makes sense in a weird, messed up way.
Hey, I know this one. Used to be one of my favorites.
Oh, there's something.
Antibiotics, neuroleptics, antidepressants. Even by my standards, that's a lot of pills.
Okay, that still doesn't help us find a fuse, though. Well, maybe it'd be here, but... Can't look around there. Oh, this is open now. 'Twas not open before.
Busted open. From the inside. Ah, yes. This was definitely Lily's place. Where he kept her.
Salt. Who knew it was that simple? A bit of alchemy, some spiritual infusion, there you have it. Looks like folk tales are true after all. Anyway, the room is ready and it works. It actually works. For the first time in life, I can feel alone. And it feels wonderful.
Quite the selection. So she could doll herself up with no one to see her.
Ooh boy.
She'd be a grown woman by now, but the room is still all dolls and unicorns. Imagine being locked up in this place, having a needle shoved into your arm day in, day out. You didn't deserve this, Lily. Again with the salt. The whole room is lined with it. Little windows into the world. It's something, I guess. Sunshine doesn't really translate to text, though.
Ooh boy. Alright, we got our fuse now.
Ah, shit. Too much power.
Okay. Okay, so it's this one and this one. There we go.
There be light.
Investigate the living quarters.
As before. Very, minimalist. Huh. Mold.
Oh.
Someone's been here recently.
Notice that cup? That's the same cup she's using in the scene where she's talking to somebody. In fact, it's in this room. She's talking to somebody in this room because this is the broken mirror that you see on the side.
If I find enough pieces, I might be able to get to the other side. Better get to it, Alice.
I was like, wait a second, who's Alice? And then I realized she's referencing Alice in Wonderland. It's quiet now, just me and her. Just me and her. It feels strange, but in a good way. How it should be. I best enjoy it while it lasts. Already started moving the workshop over to the hotel. If anything happens, I don't want her anywhere near it. I'm going in soon to get him back. It only ends one of two ways. Either both of us are coming back, or neither. Oh, maybe Spirit Thomas got caught by the maw.
Okay. There's one. So far, so good.
But yeah, this is where she's having the conversation, or in a room very similar to this.
There. Another one.
Okay. Okay, so it seems like Lily did grow up. The problem is...
Never quite let go of his passion. In another life, perhaps.
But mentally she wasn't able to grow up because her dad kept her down here in this place where all she had was basically being treated like a child. She almost saw me today, sensed me. I should have known. I need to be more careful, keep my distance. It's just that that day goes by that I don't think of her. I know I did the right thing leaving her at the hospital. It's better this way. She's better this way. But I keep thinking of that day when it finally happens, when she discovers what she really is. She'll be confused, afraid. I should be there for her to help her make sense of it all, to tell her it's all right. No, she'll make it through. She's strong, just like her mother. Okay, so now he's talking about specifically Marianne. Why does it say don't? Funeral home, last goodbye, Jack. Ah, okay, so he was keeping track of Marianne because Jack is the one who adopted Marianne. It says don't. I'm guessing that was a reminder to himself to just let it be.
Should be enough. Let's make magic happen. This was definitely Thomas's workspace. I can sense the determination. Whatever he was working on, he really gave it his all. Were you trying to send the monster away? Or to get your other self back?
Lit, Marianne. Something about a symbol. Okay. Alright. Well, time to figure out what's up with the mirror. Wait, why does it want us to look at this again? Oh, because it's just architecture stuff. And then that's Lily's room. What is this way? Oh, we know it's this way. We gotta go in here. Mirror, mirror on the wall.
The moment we finally met.
Okay.
Thomas?
Yeah, so that's why she's that's who she's talking to at the table.
Wait. You're the other one. The spirit. But the hound. I thought you were gone.
Gone. No. Trapped. I spent years in Henry's fucked up world. When you sent him away, I could finally break free. That's why you're so important. You can finish this.
Where is he? Where is my father?
Probably dead.
I don't know. For the first time in my life, I don't feel his presence. I've been away for so long. Could you stay for a moment? Tell me how all this started.
Smoking's bad for your health. Now that also explains why she was covered in dirt when the sequence started, which I pointed out at the beginning.
It all starts with a dead girl.
Okay. And then that's where she's been telling him the whole story.
What about Lily? Did my father...
No. He couldn't have. He wouldn't. He loved her too much. Both of you.
So, what happened to her? What is this place?
This is where he kept her. That cell back there. It only exists in one world.
Mm.
There's the other one out.
Interesting. Which we knew because that's why he was talking about all the salt.
He built it so that he could be alone. It was the only place he could feel normal. Separated from his powers. For me. Came in handy once Lily became unstable.
Unstable. What do you mean?
She's a medium too, Marianne. A powerful one.
Yep. And the maw is her
It runs in the family.
her beast.
When Richard hurt her, it awoke something inside her. Something terrible. And it was only a matter of time before it got out. It's what your father feared. What he tried to avoid.
That's why he called me. But that means...
Yes. She's still alive. There's still a way to save her. You have to find her, Marianne.
Where is she? Where is my sister?
At the lake.
for you to go. I'll hold it off for as long as I can.
I'm not leaving you.
You can't always save everyone. Butterfly. Trust me. I know. And I'm sorry.
All right. Like we are coming up on a thrilling conclusion. Where are we at? Oh, he just pushed us back out of the... No?
No.
Oh yeah, he pushed us all the way back to the entrance of the fort. How kind. Time to go to the lake. What's wrong with our arm? I do feel like... Thomas tried to kill her, because I think he was like, it's better that the maw not get free, but I don't think he succeeded.
God. This is it. The place from my dream. I've walked this path 1,000 times in my mind. I know every inch of it. But this time, something is different.
This music is very Silent Hill. I'd be very interested to know if they actually got the same lady. I believe her name is Elizabeth McGlynn, I believe is her name, that does the stuff for Silent Hill. Yeah.
I'm getting close. I can feel
It doesn't quite sound like her, but it could be...
so clearly now.
But it could be mastered a little bit differently. Yeah, it does sound a lot like her, though. Yeah, I believe her name's Elizabeth McGlynn, but I don't know if that's who this is singing. I would be surprised if it wasn't. All right. So, in theory, this is Lily. Because she's not dead. She's like Marianne, she can go between the two. The problem is she also has the maw.
You finally made it. Lillian, I've been waiting for you, little sister.
Lily, I didn't know. I couldn't remember. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It was better that way. At least you had a life. For a while.
Oh, did you look it up, Eddie? It is her?
That day when the fire broke out at our house, I made a deal. The part of my soul that was tormented was set loose.
You mean the monster? But why?
To save you. It helped us escape the flames, but in return, I had to set it free.
Now Marianne has to send it back.
Free to devour, to destroy, to kill.
The Neva massacre.
Yes. All those people died so that we could live. And because I lived, so did my demons. Father knew my powers were too dangerous. He left you at the hospital so you could have a normal life.
And what about you? Did he try to...
No. Maybe he should have. But he couldn't bring himself to do it. Instead, he locked me away. But he only delayed the inevitable. Monster, it got out. And now you're here. You're the only one who can fix this.
Oh no.
We both share our father's gifts, but also his fate and the dream.
The dream? But all I see is a girl. You. Shot dead. Here, on this pier. Hasn't it already happened?
No.
But it will.
It's not the past you see. The dream. It's what I want to happen.
What?
Henry's gun.
It all ends in me.
But... No! No!
You can't send a spirit away while the host is still alive. That's why you couldn't destroy the monster. That's why Sadness didn't want to go.
But... You're my sister.
That's why it has to be you. I'm not strong enough. It won't let me. Only you can end this. Only you can fix what our father could not.
Liliana, I can't. Please, don't make me do this.
It's the only way to destroy it. To prevent further bloodshed.
Lily?
Guess who's here?
What's going on?
Skin suit. All too small. Constricting. Outgrown. Don't leader. Suit. Light. Almost gone.
Look at it. They did it to where now it's actually like just a split.
There is another way.
Marianne. No.
What is he doing? It changes nothing.
Like you said, I'm your only chance. Our aren't I? You need a medium strong enough to sustain you. The others, they only lasted for so long before you broke them down.
Marianne, please. I don't want
Maybe
this.
it's not your choice. Maybe this is my story after all. No! Don't do this!
Please, sister. Set me
Look at it.
free.
No! Stay back! Stay back!
Has to be you.
It'll never stop.
Only you can end this.
You can't always save everyone, Butterfly.
Do we actually have to make a choice here? Oh, okay, yeah. We don't get to make the choice. Let's see what the choice is.
It all starts with a dead girl.
And it all ends with me. So it's interesting they didn't show you who. I guess they leave that up to your interpretation. Wow.
Voices deep inside me.
Hopefully this doesn't get copyright strike.
Keep calling. They're calling. Voices.
That's very interesting. I think I would have liked to know who got shot.
Whisper to me. Someone make them go away. Voices walk beside me.
Ma was Troy Baker. Okay. I was trying to see if these voices were anybody that we might know, or at least I might know.
Someday I'll find my own way. Won't look back on all this pain and sorrow. Some way there'll be a new day.
But
And the road
face models.
for me I will follow. Voices in my head echo
Yeah.
all that's left unsaid from the dead. They said keep
And that last sequence.
these voices in
All right.
my soul.
I'm gonna go ahead and
Not in control. Let me
skip that. Oh, we're getting something. We'll talk about it in just a second. Oh yeah, the watch that was missing. That's Spirit Thomas leaving Niwa. Niva. One of the biggest and most ambitious games that we've made so far. It's a close and personal project that is years in the making. We poured our souls into it, and we've made a lot of great memories during the development. However, as great as it makes games, we love one person in mind, and that's you. Your thoughts mean a lot to us, and they make us better developers. That's why we would love to hear your impression of the medium. What does that mean? I mean, that means that either Thomas is still alive somewhere, and Spirit Thomas is going to look for him, or Spirit Thomas has got something else going on. Maybe later. but that was really, really good. Like, the only issues I have with the game are just it did not run very well for a little bit, and I think that's just because of maybe some of my settings. But overall, like, that was really, really good.